Grüß, willkommen in einem aufregendes video. Welcome to another exciting video, in this case episode 13 of my organisational series. In this video I'll provide a view of the Polish World War II brigades and divisions' combat strengths. I'll be using the point system from the Corps Commander set of rules. The point system is based largely on physical attributes of the various weapon systems such as armour thickness, gun penetration rates, weight of fire, speed, special combat features and so on. The primary formation I'll focus on is the battalion. Companies will only be included when unavoidable. Finally, viewers need to understand that 100 points of tanks will operate very differently from 100 points of infantry. Thus, comparing tank battalions with infantry battalions need to be done through a subjective filter. However, comparing a tank battalion in 1942 with one in 1945 is valid. It should also be remembered that while figure gaming points provides a rough way of ensuring force mixes are balanced, they can never be perfect. If one formation is 1,000 points and the other is 1,001 points, it does not mean the latter will win any conflict. As a result, it's best to look at this value several orders of magnitude higher, thus dividing by 250 gives you a simpler value where you know that a value of 2 is clearly inferior to a value of 3. The Polish nation was involved with World War II from the very beginning and perhaps under British services up until the surrender of the Japanese. The bedrock of the Polish army was their infantry divisions. There were a number of different levels of readiness of the divisions, but we'll be dealing with the official TO&E only. The Polish infantry divisions were small compared with the German divisions, but they were very well balanced. Considering its size, the anti-tank and artillery support was very reasonable. The elite element of the Polish army were their cavalry brigades, which acted like horse mobile infantry which would be normally dismounted before getting into action. The quality of the troops was very high. The cavalry brigades were rather good. The motorised infantry and cavalry battalions, or actually truly regiments, had good supporting formations and as a result had significant combat punch. The motorised battalions were particularly good. This was not a pure horse-mounted formation. The Polish began to form motorised cavalry brigades which look like a mechanised brigade. The 10th was their first such brigade. The mechanised brigade had its armour under HQ command or brigade command, so there were no armoured battalions. The artillery and infantry were reasonable, and this brigade had, at various times, other formations attached to it. The artillery and AA battalions were attached from the start, and the R35 light tank battalion joined it during the campaign. The Polish did form a second mechanised brigade, consisting of whatever they could pull together due to its short formation timeframe. The Warsaw Brigade was similar to the 10th Mechanised Cavalry Brigade, although the armour was organised into 2 battalions, which is not shown here. I'm uncertain if this was official or just an ad hoc arrangement. A 7 TPM light tank battalion joined this brigade during the campaign. Because the Polish army, as it existed in 1939, only lasted for a couple of months, we cannot compare the progression of the divisions during the war, but we can compare some of the battalions against French and Italian battalions. When we compare the Polish with the French and Italian battalions, the standard leg infantry battalions were rather weak, but the motorised battalions, that is Polish motorised battalions, was rather good. The tank battalions were comparable, at least in terms of combat effectiveness. Once the Russians joined in the invasion of Poland, the Polish armed forces had no chance of surviving. If only the Russians invaded, it may have given itself a good account of itself, or if the Western Allies had been more aggressive and the Russians were not involved, it may have also lasted longer. One thing I can say, the troops were highly motivated and fought very well, but they were overwhelmingly outnumbered and outmatched. This concludes episode 13, my video series on organisation, in this case analysing the Polish army in World War II, specifically the estimated combat strength of the battalions which made up the divisions or brigades. Alle guten Dingen kommen zu einem Ende.